Welcome back to Library Choice YouTube channel. In today's class, we'll be learning how to make this beautiful built-up Queen Anne's neckline. It's a very simple tutorial and it's beginner friendly. If this is something you like to learn, kindly stay tuned to the end of this tutorial. Thank you. Okay, so to make this built-up neckline, I've drafted my basic bodies already. We've drafted a lot of these bodies on the channel by now, so I'm sure we understand how to draft our basic bodies. So this is the back, and my back has a zipper allowance, and this is my front. So for my front, I'm working with a princess dart. You can use a waist dart or whatever that you want, but I choose to work with a princess dart bustier for this. And I also have a detailed tutorial on how you can draft a princess dart on the channel already. So this is my neckline. My neckline is my natural 3 inches by 3 inches, but because I still want to modify this and I'm working with a marker, so I don't want so many lines, that's why I did not indicate the neckline. I just left it like that. So this is my back also. So I'm starting with the back because it's a built-up neckline, which means like it has like a small collar at the back. So I folded in, before drafting my pattern, I folded in extra pattern here so that can give me room for my built-up neckline. So now I'm just going to raise it up like this, and then we'll continue to draft. So now the first thing you need to do is to determine how high you want your collar to be at your neckline. It can be 1 inch, 1.5, 2 inches, 2.5 inches, but it shouldn't be too high. So where my neckline stops here, which I have my neck point, I'm going to go upwards by the allowance that I want, by how high I want my neckline to be, usually 2 inches. So from there, now you can see that I'm just measuring 2 inches upwards. Let me bring this closer. Okay, so from there I'm just measuring 2 inches upward, and then I'm going to note the 2 inches, and then I'll use my marker, my ruler, to square it up like this. Okay, so now I have a new neckline. So I'm just going to mark the 2 inches here also, so that I can have a straight line. Okay, so now to shape out my neckline, I'm going to, on the actual neckline, remember this is my zipper allowance, this excess here is my zipper allowance. On my actual neckline, excuse me, I'm going to go downwards by 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch. So I'm going downwards by 1/2 inch, which is here, and then using the curved part of my ruler, I'm going to connect it to my neck point. Okay, like this, and then I'll take it to my zipper allowance. So now this is my new built-up neckline for the back. So this is all I need to do for the back. But before I go, because I'm going to show this to the front, this sharp edge, you don't want it to be this sharp. You try to smoothen it as much as possible. So you can use your curve, or you just use your free hand to just link the shoulder with the new built-up neckline that we'll have, so that it's not going to be sharp. You have something smooth, so that they can just blend like what I have here. Okay, so now we move to the front. So for the front, the first thing you're going to do now is to extend your shoulder point. Remember I said you're going to be sewing all of this back to our front also. So for us to accommodate this, I'm going to extend this shoulder point that I have. So I'll just follow my shoulder slope and then just extend this like this. Okay, so this is my actual neckline measurement. This is where my actual neckline stops. So this is my extension that I have here. So now you're just going to increase this. Remember when we were doing the build up for the front, we increased this by 2 inches, and I said you are sewing them together. So the same 2 inches that you used for the front is what you're going to use for the back, like this. Another thing you can do is just to measure the new shoulder that you have here from the lower part all the way to the upper part. So once you measure what you have there, I have around 7 inches. We just place that here and then from your, so you measure from, remember we measured this from the armhole here, so from your armhole for the front also you place your tape measure now, and then measure what you have. So you can see that I have about 7 inches there also. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do on this point here, I'm just going to go up by half an inch. You can do 3/4 of an inch also. So I'll go up by half an inch, and then I'm going to connect it back to my shoulder, sorry, back to my neck point, using the slightly curved part of my ruler. Okay, so that everything can just blend well. So you can see how I'm connecting it. So after doing this, the next thing is to dictate how deep you want your front neckline to be. That's your neck depth. So for my neck depth, from my starting point here, I want it to be around 7 inches deep. So from my starting point, I'm measuring 7 inches here, and then so that I can have a perfect guide, I'm going to square it using my actual neck width. So my actual neck width is 3 inches, as you can see. So on that 7 inch point, I'm going to mark the 3 inches, and then I'm going to connect it in form of a square like this. So this is not my actual neckline. My actual neckline is like a queen has neckline, but this is going to be a guide for me to draw out my actual neckline. Okay, so after connecting this like this again, I forgot to mention that you should also check, remember we've raised this by half an inch, so you should also check to make sure that what you have here is exactly what you have here also, because you're going to join them together. But when you're checking, just place your tape measure now, and then measure what you have here. Okay, okay, so I have 7 inches, as you can see. I have 7 inches here, and here also from my raised neckline I also have 7 inches, so which is okay for me. So the next thing is to draw out your neckline. So this depends on the type of neckline you want. I don't want mine to be too sharp or deep, so I'm just going to try to, I can use my free hand, but for the sake of this tutorial I'm going to put a measurement to it. So from my starting point here on this vertical line, I'm going to measure around 4 inches as a guide. So I'm going to measure around 4 inches here, or 4¼ because I want the V part to be a bit low. Okay, so if I'm measuring 4 inches, I have 4 inches here. So using the slightly curved part of my ruler, I'm going to connect from this 4 inches to this new neckline that I have. So you can see the part that I'm using, because I don't want it too deep. Okay, so if you want it deeper, you can extend it all the way to this side. So from here, I'm just going to connect like this. Okay, you can see the way I've connected it. And then after connecting it, I'm going to connect from here to my neck depth in front of a V shape. Okay, so from here now, using this curved part again, I'm going to connect it in form of a V shape. So I'm doing this because this is the style that I want to go for. Like I said, if you want it deeper, you can just extend up to here before you curve it to your neckline, whichever one you want. So this is the neckline. This is the neckline that I'm going for, and then I'm just going to cut this out so that I can cut it out on my fabric. So I'll cut it out, I'll close my bust dart also, and then I'm just going to remove my center front first. So this pattern I have here already have side seam allowance, so I'm not going to include that allowance again when I'm cutting on my fabric. So if you did not add allowance on your pattern, you should remember to add that on your fabric. Okay, so this is my center front and this is my center back. Okay, I'm just going to close my seam. I'll cut out the back also I'll cut it on my fabric, then I'll bring it back to show us what we have. So I've gone ahead to cut this on my fabric. This is the back, so I have 2 pieces for the back, and this is the front. So the front are also 2 pieces. I have the center front, which is this. I just placed it on it and cut exactly what I have there. This is my center front, and this is my side front. So for the side front, I just closed my bust dart like this, and then I placed it on my fabric to cut out exactly this. So I cut 2 of this for my side front. So now the next one is to cut out my facing to clean up my neckline. So for the front, I'm just going to stop my facing around here. So I'll just fold this in, or you just cut it off, and then I'm going to place it on my fabric and cut exactly what I have here for my facing, which is what I've done. So a facing is just like a shorter version of what I have. And for the front, because it's a princess that the other side does not interfere with the neckline, so I'm just cutting the facing on the center front alone, because the side front is not affecting the neckline. You can see where the side front stops around here. So this is the facing for my front. So I just place it on it, and then I cut out exactly this. So this is the front facing, and then for the back also, you just go as low as you want, and then you connect it to cut out your facing. So this is the facing for my back, so you can see where I stopped my facing. So I just measured around 7 inches downwards, and then I stopped cutting there. So that's going to be my facing for the back. So now to sew this, the first one I'm going to sew now is my facing. So I'll place them against each other like this, and then sew the neckline. So I'm not going to touch the shoulder because I'm going to use it to turn out each other. So I'm going to sew in my neckline and then a little bit of my zipper. I'm just going to sew the neckline first. So for the front also, I'm going to place the facing and the main fabric against each other, and then I'm going to sew the neckline. Then I'll bring it back to show us what we have. So I've sewn this around my neckline, and the next thing I'm just going to do is to notch this at important corners so that it can open up well for me. So this is the front. I'll notch the back also, and then I'll turn it. So after turning it, I'll go ahead to sew my shoulders together. Okay, so this is the front. When you turn this and give it a good press. Okay, so this is ironed now. To sew your shoulders, remember this curved part is what you're sewing to. The whole part here is what we're sewing to the front. So to sew it neatly, I'm going to look for the side that corresponds with each other. So when you lay it like this, you place this right side facing right side. You know this is for this side, and this closed part is your neckline, so this part is your shoulder, which is why I said it is important for them to be the same measurement. So you can see, because you're going to sew it together, so to have something neat, I'm just going to match everything together like this. Okay, so you can see what I'm matching. 1 2 3. I have 3. That's 2 for the front and 1 of them for the back. So the last one for the back, which is the facing, I'm just going to flip it like this to cover it up, so that by the time I finish sewing it and I turn it, it's going to be neat. So I'll do this and just sew straight for both front and back. Okay, so it is sewn now. I can see what we have. So by the time I flip it over, it's going to be neat both. So this is the inner part and this is the outer part. It's going to be neat both in and out. So you can see the level my facing stopped. So if you want it to be fully lined, you just cut exactly what you have here on your lining also, but I just want it to be half. And then I'm going to serge all these rough edges, or you turn it with bias or whatever it is, just making it. So this is the other side also. You can also iron it at this point, but before I move on, I want to sew my side front together. So I'm placing the side part of the front, and then I'm going to sew it to the center front before I join my side seam. Okay, so I've sewn my back to my side front, and then you just need to iron your cup area with your tailor's arm so that it can be neat. Then I'm going to place the right side of my front to the right side of my back, and then I'm going to sew it on the side seam. Okay, so this is one and this is the other one. Okay, so I'm going to sew it like this, and then you can fix your zipper. So there are several ways you can fix your zipper, but because this is a dress, you can just sew this in a way that this zipper part is not going to be opened in front. But because this is a dress and it goes all the way, so you want it to open up so that I can wear it easily. But if you're making a blouse, you can sew it in a way that your zipper is just going to start from the hem, and then you zip it up like that, so you won't have two separate. You must have joined this together and then use your lining to cover it up. But I just did it like this so that you can just open it up completely, and then it will be easier for you to wear. So now I'm going to sew it together on the side seam, and then I'll take it to the mannequin so that we'll see what it looks like. Okay, so this is what the neckline is looking like. You can see the collar at the back and the shape that we have. So like I said, you can form any shape that you desire, and this is the full view of the blouse. So you just need to join your skirts or whatever it is you want to join to this, and this is the princess that same line that we went for. And then on the armhole, you just need to fix your sleeve, or you turn it with a bias. You can see how beautiful and simple it is to make this. So I hope you enjoyed making this tutorial with me. If you enjoyed it, let us know in the comment section. Like, comment and subscribe to our channel, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.